Hello everyone, and welcome back to Super Rare Coins channel. In today's video, we're going to explore the top 6 coins that every collector should know about. These coins may look ordinary, but they carry amazing history, rarity, and surprising market value in today's coin world. From historic American coins to rare international pieces, each coin on this list has its own unique story and big value potential. So stay with us till the end of the video, because the number 1 coin might shock you if you love rare coins, old money, and hidden treasures. This video is just for you. Top 1. The 1966 quarter dollar. We must look at what was happening in the United States during the mid-1960s. Many people call this a Roosevelt quarter, but officially the quarter dollar features George Washington, while President Franklin D. Roosevelt appears on the dime. However, 1966 falls within the Roosevelt legacy period, when his influence on American coinage and national policies was still strongly felt. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the United States ended the use of 90% silver in quarters. Rising silver prices had caused widespread hoarding of coins, forcing the U.S. Mint to change the metal composition. By 1966, all quarter dollars were being struck in copper-nickel-clad metal, making this coin part of the early non-silver era of U.S. currency. This transition makes the 1966 quarter historically important. Let's take a closer look at the design and features of the 1966 quarter dollar. On the obverse side, you'll see the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. The word Liberty appears at the top. With "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date 1966 at the bottom. On the reverse side, the iconic bald eagle stands with wings spread wide, holding arrows and olive branches, symbols of strength, peace, and national unity. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "quarter dollar" complete the design. The coin is made of a copper core layered with nickel. Over decades of circulation, exposure to air, moisture, and soil can cause dark toning, corrosion, or rusty-looking patches, especially on heavily used coins. Many people assume that a rusty or dirty quarter has no value, but collectors know better. A fine, circulated condition 1966 quarter still shows a readable date, clear lettering, a recognizable Washington portrait, a visible eagle design. Rust-like discoloration usually comes from long-term circulation or poor storage, not from the mint itself. While corrosion can reduce value for regular collectors, coins with unusual toning, exposed copper layers, or surface anomalies can attract specialized collectors and error coin enthusiasts. So, is the 1966 quarter dollar rare? In standard condition, it is considered a common coin because millions were minted. However, collector demand increases when the coin has special features such as off-center strikes, double die errors, missing or partial clad layers, strong copper exposure on the edge, unusual minting defects. Some 1966 error quarters have sold for surprisingly high prices, making this coin very attractive to collectors who enjoy searching for hidden treasures. Now, let's talk about the most exciting part: market value today. Here are realistic price estimates for the 1966 quarter dollar, depending on condition and rarity. Heavy circulated rusty, $0.30 to $0.75. Fine circulated condition, $1 to $3. Very fine condition, $4 to $8. Coins with minor errors, $15 to $70. Certified major error coins, $100 to $500 or more. Although most 1966 quarters are not silver, error coins and unusual examples can carry big value in today's collector market. If you have a 1966 quarter dollar, keep these important tips in mind. Never clean the coin. Cleaning lowers value. Store it in a dry, protective holder. Check the edge for copper exposure. Use a magnifying glass to spot errors. Compare recent auction prices before selling. Sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest stories, so This was the complete story of the United States of America $quarter 1966, a coin from the early modern era of U.S. money and a symbol of change in American history. Even in rusty, fine circulated condition, it remains an interesting and collectible coin today. Top 2. The 1965 quarter dollar is so important, we must go back to the 1960s, a time of huge change in the United States. Although many people call this a Roosevelt quarter, the quarter dollar actually features George Washington, while Roosevelt appears on the dime. However, the year 1965 falls directly within the Roosevelt era of U.S. leadership influence, making this coin historically significant. Before 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver, but rising silver prices forced the U.S. government to make a major decision. In 1965, the U.S. Mint officially ended silver quarters and introduced copper-nickel-clad coinage. This change makes the 1965 quarter dollar a historic transition coin, representing the end of silver circulation in everyday American money. Let's take a closer look at the design and features of the 1965 quarter dollar. On the obverse side, the coin features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. You'll see the word Liberty at the top, and I in God We Trust on the left side, with the date 1965 clearly visible. On the reverse side, the iconic bald eagle stands proudly with outstretched wings, holding arrows and olive branches, symbols of strength and peace. The words United States of America and quarter dollar complete the design. The 1965 quarter is composed of a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers over decades of circulation. Exposure to moisture and air can cause dark toning, corrosion, or rusty-looking surfaces, especially on heavily used coins. A lot of people throw away coins just because they look rusty or dirty, but collectors think differently. A fine circulated condition 1965 quarter still shows a clear and readable date. Strong lettering, visible Washington portrait, recognizable eagle design. Rust-like discoloration is usually caused by environmental exposure, storage in damp places, or long-term circulation. While corrosion can lower value for standard collectors, coins with unusual toning, exposed copper layers, or surface anomalies may attract specialized collectors. So, is the 1965 quarter dollar rare? In normal condition, it is considered a common coin because millions were minted. However, collector interest increases when the coin has mint errors, off-center strikes, double die features, missing clad layers, strong copper exposure. Some 1965 error quarters have sold for impressive prices, making this coin very important for error coin hunters. Now, let's talk about the part everyone is waiting for: market value today. Here are realistic value estimates for the 1965 quarter dollar, depending on condition. Heavy circulated rusty, 30 cents to 75 cents USD. Fine circulated condition, $1 to $3 US. Very fine condition, $4 to $8 US coins with minor errors, $15 to $60 US. Certified major error coins, $100 to $500 US or more. While most 1965 quarters are not silver, error coins and unusual examples can bring big value compared to face value. If you own a 1965 quarter dollar, here are some important tips. Never clean the coin. Store it in a dry holder. Check the edge for copper exposure. Use magnification to find errors. Compare prices from recent auctions. Sometimes history hides in the smallest details. So, this was the full story of the United States of America quarter dollar 1965, a coin that represents the end of silver money and the beginning of modern U.S. coinage. Even in rusty, fine circulated condition, it remains a historically important and collectible coin today. Top 3. The 1998 D5 cents coin. we must look at the history of the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It honors Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. By 1998, the Jefferson nickel had been part of American daily life for 60 years. This was a period of economic stability in the United States, and millions of coins were produced for circulation. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, one of the most important U.S. mint facilities. Denver minted coins are highly collected, especially when they show errors or unusual characteristics. Now, let's take a closer look at the design and features of the 1998 D5 coin. On the obverse side, you'll see a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The word Liberty appears clearly, along with the year 1998. Just beside the date, you'll find the D Mint mark, confirming it was struck in Denver. On the reverse side, the coin features Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. The inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 5 cents surround the design. The coin is made from a copper-nickel alloy. Over time, exposure to moisture, soil, or improper storage can cause rust-like discoloration, dark toning, or surface corrosion, especially on heavily circulated coins. Many people believe that a rusty or dirty coin has no value, but that's not always true. A fine circulated condition coin still shows a readable date. Clear lettering, visible Jefferson portrait, recognizable Monticello details. Rusty or corroded surfaces usually result from long circulation, environmental exposure, or storage in damp places. While corrosion can reduce value for normal collectors, some collectors actively search for unusual toning, metal exposure, or planchet problems, which can increase interest and demand. So, is the 1998 D5 coin rare? In standard condition, it is considered a common date coin. Because millions were minted, however, rarity increases if the coin shows off-center strikes, die cracks, weak or doubled mint marks, lamination or metal separation, unusual corrosion patterns. Some 1998 D-era nickels have sold for strong prices, especially when authenticated and graded. Now let's discuss the most important part: market value today. Here is a realistic value range for the United States 5 cents 1998 D coin. Heavy circulated, rusty, 10 cents to 30 cents USD. Fine circulated condition, 50 cents to $1.50 USD. Very fine condition, $2 to $4 US. Coins with minor errors, $10 to $40 US. Certified major error coins, $75 to $200 US or more. While most examples are not extremely valuable, error coins and unusual pieces can bring big money compared to face value. Top 4. The 1991 P5 coin. We need to go back to the history of the Jefferson nickel. The 5 coin featuring Thomas Jefferson was first introduced in 1938. Replacing the Buffalo nickel, Thomas Jefferson was the third President of the United States and the main author of the Declaration of Independence. By 1991, the Jefferson nickel had become one of the most widely used coins in everyday American life. The P Mint mark means this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and most historic mint in the United States. During the early 1990s, the U.S. economy was changing and millions of coins were produced for daily circulation. However, not all coins survive in collectible condition, especially after decades of use. Now, let's take a closer look at the design and features of the 1991 P5 coin. On the obverse side, you'll see a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The word Liberty appears clearly, along with the year 1991 and the P Mint mark. On the reverse side, the coin shows Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. You'll also see the words United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 5 cents. The coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy over time. Heavy circulation, moisture, and environmental exposure can cause dark toning, corrosion, or rusty-looking surfaces, especially when the copper core reacts with air. Many people think a rusty or dirty coin has no value, but that's not always true. A fine circulated condition coin means the date is still clear, Jefferson's portrait is visible, Monticello details can still be seen, lettering is readable. Rusty or corroded surfaces usually come from long-term circulation, storage in damp places, or chemical reactions in the metal. While corrosion lowers value for standard collectors, some collectors look for unusual toning, metal exposure, or surface errors, making even rusty coins worth saving. So, is the 1991 P5 cents coin rare? In normal condition, it is considered a common date coin because millions were produced, but collector interest increases when a coin has mint errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, lamination or planchet errors, unusual corrosion, or metal separation. Some error nickels from the early 1990s have sold for surprisingly high prices, especially when certified by grading companies. Now, let's talk about the market value today of the 1991 P5 cents coin. Here are realistic value estimates based on condition and demand. Heavy circulation rusty, 10 cents to 30 cents USD. Fine circulated condition, $0.50 to $1 and 50 cents very fine condition, $2 to $4 coins with visible errors, $10 to $50. Certified major error coins can reach $100 to $250. While most 1991 P nickels are not extremely valuable, error coins and unusual examples can bring big value compared to face value if you own a 1991 P5 cents coin. Remember these tips. Never clean the coin. Cleaning reduces value. Store it in a dry place. Check edges and surfaces for errors. Use a magnifying glass. Compare recent sales online. Sometimes, the smallest coin can bring the biggest surprise. So this was the complete story of the United States of America 5 cents 1991. P coin often confused, often ignored, but still important in American coin history. Even in rusty, fine, circulated condition, it remains a collectible piece with historical value. Top 5. The 1980 Roosevelt Liberty coin. We need to go back to the origins of the Roosevelt series. The Roosevelt coin was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was one of the most influential leaders in American history and played a major role during the Great Depression and World War II. The coin was created to honor his leadership and his work supporting the March of Dimes, a national campaign that helped fight polio. By the time we reached 1980, the United States was facing economic challenges, including inflation and rising metal prices. During this period, the U.S. Mint had already switched to copper-nickel-clad coins, replacing the earlier silver versions. The P Mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most respected mints in the United States. Millions of Roosevelt coins were minted in Philadelphia in 1980, but not all have survived in collectible condition. Let's take a closer look at the design of the Roosevelt Liberty 1980 P coin. On the obverse side, you'll see a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Surrounding the image are the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the year 1980 just above, or beside the date, you'll find the P Mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse side, the coin features a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are clearly visible. The coin is composed of copper-nickel-clad metal. Over time, circulation and exposure to moisture can cause rust-like discoloration, especially if the copper core becomes exposed. This is very common on older circulated coins. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where many collectors get confused. A rusty or heavily circulated 1980 P. Roosevelt coin may not look attractive, but it can still be meaningful to collectors. A coin in fine circulated condition still shows a clear date, readable lettering, visible main design elements. Rust, corrosion, or dark toning often comes from environmental exposure, not mint damage in some cases. Unusual corrosion patterns or metal reactions can make a coin more interesting, especially to collectors who specialize in error coins or metal anomalies. So, is the 1980 P. Roosevelt Liberty coin rare in general? It is considered a common date coin because millions were minted. However, true rarity depends on special characteristics such as strong or unusual mint marks, die cracks or off-center strikes, planchet errors, unusual corrosion, or metal separation. Collectors are especially interested in coins that show something different from normal circulation. That's why even rusty or worn coins can sometimes be saved instead of thrown away. Now, let's talk about what everyone wants to know: market value today. Here is an estimated value range for the Roosevelt Liberty 1980 P coin, based on condition and collector demand. Heavily circulated rusty, 20 cents to 50 cents USD. Fine circulated condition, $0.50 to $1 and 50 cents. Very fine condition, $2 to $4. Coins with errors or unique metal damage, $10 to $40. Certified error coins can reach $75 to $150 in rare cases. While this coin is not extremely valuable in normal condition, it still holds historical importance and remains a key piece for U.S. coin collectors. If you own a 1980 P. Roosevelt Liberty coin, here are some important tips. Do not clean the coin. Cleaning lowers collector value. Store it safely in a coin holder or paper envelope. Use a magnifying glass to check for mint errors. Compare prices online before selling. Label your coins with year, mint mark, and condition. These small steps can help preserve your coin's value for years to come. So this was the story of the United States of America Roosevelt Liberty 1980 P coin, a simple, circulated coin with history and collector interest. Even in rusty or fine circulated condition, it reminds us that every coin has a story and a place in American history. Top 6. The 1985 Roosevelt Liberty coin. We need to go back to American coin history. The Roosevelt coin series was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was one of the most respected U.S. presidents and played a major role during the Great Depression and World War II. The coin was designed to honor his leadership and his strong support for the March of Dimes, a campaign that helped fight polio. By 1985, the Roosevelt coin had already been in circulation for nearly 40 years, making it a familiar and trusted part of everyday American money. The P Mint mark stands for Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most important mints in the United States. In 1985, millions of coins were struck at Philadelphia, but not all survived in collectible condition, especially those that show rust, corrosion, or circulation wear. Let's take a closer look at the design of the Roosevelt Liberty 1985 P coin. On the obverse side, you'll see a strong profile portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, facing left. Around his image are the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the year 1985. Just above or beside the date, you'll notice the P Mint mark, confirming that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse side, the design features a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. The words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum appear clearly, along with the denomination. The coin is made from a copper-nickel clad composition. Over time, exposure to moisture and air can cause rust-like discoloration, especially if the copper core becomes visible. This is common in older circulated coins. Now, let's talk about condition, because this is where many people get confused. A rusty or heavily circulated 1985 P. Roosevelt coin may look damaged, but it can still be interesting to collectors for several reasons. Coins in fine circulated condition still show clear date, lettering, and major design details, even if the surface has scratches or discoloration. In some cases, unusual rust patterns, oxidation, or planchet issues attract collectors who specialize in error coins or environmental damage varieties. If the coin shows odd texture, bubbling, or color changes, it may indicate a mint error or metal composition reaction, which can increase interest among niche collectors. So, is the 1985 P. Roosevelt Liberty coin rare in general? It is considered a common date coin, but rarity changes based on condition and special features. Collectors look for strong mint mark visibility, unusual corrosion or metal errors, die cracks or off-center strikes, coins with historical circulation wear. While millions were minted, surviving examples with unusual characteristics are far fewer. That's why some circulated or rusty coins are still saved and studied by collectors today. Now, let's talk about the most important part: market value today. Here's an estimated value range for the Roosevelt Liberty 1985 P coin, depending on condition. Heavily circulated rusty, 25 cents to $1 USD, collector curiosity value. Fine circulated condition, $1 to $3 US. Very fine condition, $3 to $6 US. Coins with errors or unique corrosion, $10 to $50 USD, sometimes more depending on demand. Certified error coins can reach $100 plus USD in rare cases. While it may not make you rich overnight, this coin still holds historical and collector value, especially for beginners building U.S. coin collections. If you own a 1985 P. Roosevelt Liberty coin, here are some important tips. Do not clean the coin. Cleaning reduces collector value. Store it properly in a coin holder or envelope. Check for errors using a magnifying glass. Compare prices online on eBay, Namista, or coin forums. Label your coins with year, mint mark, and condition for future reference. Small steps can help preserve your coin's value for years to come. So that's the full story of the United States of America Roosevelt Liberty 1985 P coin, a simple yet meaningful piece of American history, even in rusty or fine circulated condition. This coin reminds us that every piece of money carries a story, value, and legacy. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Super Rare Coins.